right. Welcome back to She Sells, He Sells, the podcast where we are here to change the way you think about sales by getting you to look at it in a whole new way. And I am beyond excited to introduce you to our guest today, Alex Schinasi. She is the founder and CEO of Hulken Bags, and she is a very big deal. In fact, I was just sharing with Alex before we started recording. I got some major street cred points today with my dance moms, letting them know that I'm having her on the podcast because Hulken Bags are a huge favorite of ours. So thank you so much, Alex, for being here.
Well, Krista, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here and share the Hulken story.
Yes, yes. So, oh my gosh, if someone does not know Hulken Bags, aka they're kind of living under a rock at this point, quickly just give the overview of like what is a Hulken bag? What does it look like if you're totally unfamiliar with the product?
New to the brand, yeah.
Yeah.
So we actually invented an entirely new category of products. We call it a rolling tote bag. So it's not a suitcase, it's not a tote bag. It's literally a huge tote bag on wheels that you can use to schlep literally anything from grocery shopping, laundry, but sports day with your kids, weekend trips, you name it. Every time you have to carry tons of bags, just shove them into your Hulken and roll away. We designed it specifically so that it doesn't take up so much space when not in use. So it's entirely foldable. It folds completely flat. We have different sizes, small, medium, and large, depending on how much you want to schlep, how much you schlep on a daily basis. Most people start with one size, end up with all three sizes. So it's very versatile and addresses many different use cases.
Yeah. And they're so cute and hot.
So it does have this very bright, shiny fabric, which is really fun. We're actually launching new types of fabric in 2026, which is exciting. But our audience really resonates with that shine. So we love it. They love it. It's great.
Yeah, yeah, they're gorgeous bags. And I mentioned, they're huge. The dance mom community also, I feel like I just moved my oldest into college and my Hulken was my best friend. Obviously,
Right.
getting her into the dorm, but then just the back and forth trips as we remembered all the things we forgot and we had to take all the trips to Target and Walmart and all the places. Just the
Right.
ease of like getting, all the things back and forth. The construction is so great and they're just so easy. My son was taking it back and forth for us. So they're gorgeous. They're easy to use. Just a brilliant, brilliant product. So here at She Sells, He Sells, we really believe that every good brand starts with a core message. You can have the best product, but if you don't have the core message and the belief behind it, it's going to be a lot harder to sell. And so yours is so fun and so easy to get behind. And it is that schlepping is sexy. So I would love to have you sell our listeners on this idea that schlepping can be sexy.
I love that. So yeah, schlepping made easy is our tagline, and we really embraced it from day one. Meaning, we knew that schlepping is not something that anybody likes to do, and it's really tapping into our audience's emotional core. That you can still schlep, but it can be effortless, it can be fun, it can be easy. You can save your back in the process. So, kind of turning that kind of annoying sentiment around and making it fun and something to be proud of. So we have all these people that schlep for work, schlep for their families, schlep for whatever they're doing that day. And we made it fun and we made it something to be proud of. So we love when our customers resonate and kind of identify with that tagline, because it just shows that if you can tap into that emotional core, even if it's like a feeling that is not so pleasant, that isn't so sexy, but you can turn it around and actually show how you as a brand or as a product can address that pain point, then it works to your advantage, because it becomes something that, like you said, inherently you think, oh my gosh, like how can this be at the core of a brand? But it's actually something that you make better for your customers.
Yeah. And the use of the word schlep is just brilliant. It's so memorable and fun and just has you stick out from the crowd. How long did it take you to land on that core message? Was
Yeah,
that
I
easy?
think it just happened organically. So Hulken as a business, the whole entire story is interesting because it was kind of accidental. It's not that we went full speed ahead, full time on this idea. I had two software startups previously, and my co-founder Lee, who now works at Hulken too, she actually came up with that slogan, that tagline. She said, "Oh, you make shopping easy. This is what Hulken is." And so
Mhm.
back in the day, we were still working full time at my first software company that we sold shortly after. Then Lee and I went on and founded another software company that we sold. But Hulken was a weekend and night type of business that I was running on the side. And fairly quickly, we saw the demand and we saw the emotions that we're getting out of our users online, and that it was just, that's what it was. It was very simple. It became very clear to us within a year that we make schlepping easy.
Mhm, mhm. And do you find that customers really attach themselves to that slogan pretty quickly?
They do. And it's interesting because I feel like some people don't know what schlep means necessarily, but it's pretty widely recognized at this point. But it became such a core part of our identity that yeah, people embrace it. And if they don't know about it, they get a little card with their Hulken with a definition. So we also spread awareness around schlepping because there's really no other word for it. It's kind of that awkward carrying of many different things, or kind of annoying and heavy. And yeah, that's the essence of Hulken. We make schlepping easy.
I love that. And what about the word Hulken? How did that come to be?
Yeah. So I don't know if you know the origin story of Hulken, but my dad actually designed it
Mhm.
with his factory, I would say about 15 years ago at this point. He's always been in industrial packaging. So they manufacture these big industrial bags for construction and pharmaceuticals, and things are really not consumer focused. But he one day was shopping in Paris and decided, oh my God, like my back is hurting from all these bags and I need something to help me shop that stuff. So he sent a little drawing to his factory. We still have the drawing to that day. And they created it for him. And he was like, okay, this is a very sturdy bag. It's strong. We need a name like Hulk. And my mom is from Sweden, and Hulken means the Hulk in Swedish. And I've always been told that when naming a product or a brand, to have something that's memorable, that's easy to spell, and it kind of meets all these points and
Mhm.
criteria. So we love that it's something that people now identify with, that people recognize, that we have that big Vulcan logo on the bag itself that people will easily see and recognize on the subway of New York City. So it's a good name, and it's one
Mhm.
that we feel works for the brand.
Yeah, it's giving, like, very Sarah Blakely Spanx
Yeah,
origin
right.
story with the name. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
memorable.
yeah,
So how did it
yeah,
go from being your dad's idea 15 years ago
yeah,
and then this, like, side idea, side business to
yeah.
what it is right now?
Yeah. So we had this bag that my entire family was using, my brothers, my mom, our cousins, and we loved it so much. And I was living in New York City at the time with my husband and three kids, and we were using it daily to go to Trader Joe's back and forth for anything. I mean, especially if you live in a city, like you always need a Hulken to carry things. And we just saw people were noticing the bag. People would stop us on the street. And I'm sure you experienced that too as a Hulken user. It's a head turner. People will stop you and ask you about it. So we felt that there was demand for the product. Then COVID hit early 2020. And my husband at the time was a full time musician. He was a full time drummer, had just returned from his most recent tour. And he was using it around Brooklyn all the time for instruments and cymbals and drum kits and whatnot. And so he just opened up a website, and we had, 50 Hulkins in our Flatiron apartment that we were going, it was COVID. So everything was restricted, but we're still walking to the post office, shipping orders. And we got a very first article in The Strategist in April 2020, which was basically Hulken as an alternative to these German carts at Trader Joe's that nobody wanted to touch. So like bring your own tote bag to the grocery store so that you can clean it and sanitize it and whatnot. So that was a first kind of viral moment that we had. And
Mm.
I think the beauty of Hulken and the entire story is at the time, of course, I was working full time somewhere else, but the users were our best ambassadors. So the writer for The Strategist, Allison, to this day, I celebrate her because she was one of our very, very first users. And she loved it so much that she brought it up to New York Mag. And that's how it all happened.
Wow. Wow. So the timing was perfect with COVID.
Timing was
Yeah.
perfect with COVID. I guess we didn't suffer from COVID from that perspective. If anything, it would kind of give us that initial push that we wanted. But then for about 2 years, we kind of, laid low, didn't do crazy on the marketing side. I was running all social media when I could in between my other job. And it's only about 2 years in that we started investing more heavily in performance marketing and channels that were actually driving growth in a way that was more significant. But for 2 years, really, we were focused on the product so heavily. We thought, okay, this product needs to be incredible because if the product is amazing, people will talk about it, people will film it, people will share it. And we're just hyper focused on production and making it as good as an experience as it could be. And it's only 2 years later that we started investing and seeing great growth from that.
Wow. So Hulken, as we know it, really has been your full-time gig for only 3 years. Is that accurate?
It's only been my full-time gig since last September. So
Wow. What?
yeah, so in 2020, actually in 2021, I left. So I sold my company,
Mhm,
vested at the acquiring company for a couple of years, and then founded a new software company with Lee, my forever co-founder,
mhm,
and we sold that last April. So until April 2024, I was running an entirely different business. My husband, of course, was running Hulking full time. I was, working nights and doing my shifts, but it's only last September that I went full in, even though I was obviously involved from day one. I just feel like it's so unusual these days that you can start something while having a full time
mhm.
job, and it's often a struggle that I find, especially in women that don't know when to leave, how to navigate that transition. But I actually think building something while you have something solid and concrete um, on your day to day is actually a great way to start because you have that security blanket and can go full in when you want
Mhm.
to.
Mhm. Absolutely. So you're not so much of a subscriber to like the leap in the net will appear mentality.
I'm not because I'm also a very like I believe in energies and I feel like when you're busy, your energies are just more productive.
Mhm.
And the busier you are, as a mom, like the busier you are, the more you do.
Mhm.
And I feel like it just keeps your priorities straight also. Like you have your safety net and when you're ready, you can just make that leap. Yeah, that's what I think.
So I mean, the question that I'm thinking, and I'm sure everyone listening is like, how the hell do you do all of these things? Like, how are you balancing it? And not even so much right now that Hulken is your
Hmm.
full-time thing, but like take us back a year ago. Your
Yeah.
husband is running it, but like, how are you still in your previous company and building this and 3 kids? Like, what is your day to day looking like?
Yeah. So I would think a year ago, you know, because we were so focused on the product and having a product that was inherently marketing itself,
Hmm.
right? People will stop users on the street. People will find out about it from the streets, but also from social media. It's a product that people love to film, love to show off. It has this funky swirl. It has these great colors and this shine. It's highly unusual, but most importantly, it creates that sense of delight that's very important. And people just love talking about it. And so I do think us focusing on the product experience first before we went full on marketing was instrumental and kind of made my life easier as a full-time startup founder on the
Nice.
side. It's not that I needed to leave everything to make this grow. It was kind of growing itself. And we had an amazing team of freelancers. So from 2, 3 years in, we started having an email marketing team, digital performance marketing team, an SEO team. These are all agencies that we started pulling in who are all experts, but again, they're not in-house hires, which
Mhm.
means us as founders don't have to manage anyone. They're working for us, and unless they deliver numbers, we don't have to really deal with them, and we can switch and change agencies if it's not working out. So we did have support, which meant I was free to, grow and focus on my other company. And yeah, I mean, I can't deny it. I work with my husband. Hulken is a part of our life, even outside of the 9 to 5. So our kids, know all about it. They're involved in it. They love it. I don't think there's a secret recipe here. I do my best. Of course, it's not perfect. There's a lot of times that I feel a lot of guilt on the parenting side,
Mhm.
But we make it work. And I think you just have to know where your limit is and how much you can do without kind of it taking a toll on yourself and your family.
Hmm.
And I think I've always kind of known where my limit was. And if it was too much, I know where to stop and how to take time for myself and my family. But it's hard.
Yeah.
There's no denying it. It's really, really hard. But I also know that I thrive on it. I thrive on being busy and building and creating space for innovation. So it's something that I just makes me a happier person and therefore a happier parent. So I think
Mhm.
it's just about understanding what makes you a better parent. Is it to be busy? Is it to not be busy? And that will bring the your best self to your family.
Yeah, that's so important to know. I couldn't agree with you more. And I think those lessons that your kids are getting just by osmosis from being there and listening to those conversations and just being in the room where it happens, literally, they are
Yeah,
becoming so rich as human beings from those lessons and
I
you're
hope so.
they are.
Yeah, right. I hope so. I also think it does make them resilient. I do have to travel a lot since I'm full time in Hulken,
Mhm.
especially because the US are, so I live in Lisbon, Portugal. I don't know if you know that,
Yes, I
but
do.
I go to New York, I would say at least once a month, if not more. Like November, I'm basically all in the
Mhm.
US for the holidays. So it's a hard balance, but I think yeah, I think hopefully they get something out of it. And as long as I'm honest with myself or like where's my limit as far as even my health and me being present and happy when I am with them, I think we're good.
How old are your kids?
So Isaac is 10, Liv is 7, and Noam is 5.
Yeah, yeah, they're so young.
The thick of it.
You're gonna see that as they
Yeah.
continue to grow, you'll see the fruits of your labor pay off in just the people they are and
Mhm.
the things they say and the things they do. My oldest is 19
Mhm.
and
Wow.
she always said, "I'm not gonna be an entrepreneur." I've been running a business in some way, shape, or form for the last 15 years. And she's always said, "I'm not gonna be an entrepreneur and I'm never gonna do those things." And while maybe that is true, I see her doing and saying and being things that
Right.
I'm like,
You
"Yeah,
see it.
that's because of me." And, my
Yeah.
middle daughter, she does say, like, "I wanna do that." And it's just so cool, and you'll see that as your kids grow up.
Yeah.
It's
I
amazing.
already feel it in my oldest, who's only 10, but still, like, it just sense he's always asking for ideas, even providing feedback. Like, he's just interested in that world. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully something good.
Yeah, that's amazing. I wanna go back to the idea of, like, obsess over the product because I think this
Mhm.
is obviously what sets your brand apart. And so, how your dad obviously created the
Mhm.
prototype. How different does it look now from what your dad created? Can
Wow.
you create, like, a visual picture of that?
Yeah. So we just found a video this week of me opening up the bag in 2012. So imagine,
Oh,
like
wow.
so long ago, it didn't even have a pull handle, just had the two side handles, which doesn't make any sense. The
Uh-huh.
fabric was flimsy, it was kind of crumbling, it was yellow, bright yellow. It was really industrial. And I think that was the challenge that kind of excited me as a marketer. How to turn this industrial looking product into something sexy, into something fun that people really are proud to be using. And it just wasn't good at first, wasn't good enough.
Mhm.
It was good enough for us to use it and see something in it, but it wasn't good like it is today. And by the way, we're still improving the product continuously. We never stop. So to this day, we have improvements on new Hulkins to make it more sturdy, to protect the cars. Like we get so much feedback that we just love making it better. We want it to be as good as it can be, and that's never going to change. So it's work that's ongoing, and especially nowadays with lots of copycats popping out,
Mhm.
it's more important than ever that we show that we own our manufacturing. We put so much love into creating the best version of the experience out there because we created it in that category, and we're the leaders in that, and no one's going to take that away from us.
So, yeah, you obsess over the product, but yet you saw something in your dad's prototype that made you know it was special, and was it just that there was nothing else out there like it? What was it?
Think just those wheels, the fact that it's 360 spinner wheels, which sometimes gives the Hulken too much freedom and it kind of swirls all over the place,
Uh-huh.
but that's also the beauty of it, you know? and we get that feedback. "Oh, it goes all over the place. It like almost rolls too fast. It rolls away from me," but it's almost intentional because if
Mhm.
you didn't have the 360 on those wheels, you wouldn't have that delight
Mhm.
when you first use it. There are some intentional design decisions that maybe are not optimal for certain use cases,
Mhm.
but they make it delightful. And I think just the idea of having this ginormous surface with wheels that you can take anywhere in itself was useful. Even, yeah, the fabric was flimsy, and yes, the handles were maybe not ideal, but there was something that was giving us instant relief that was enough for us to dig deeper and make it better.
Mhm. Yeah. So while you obsessed over the product, there were other things that you did not obsess over. One being,
Mm.
and I love this so much. I did not know this until I was prepping for the interview. You designed your logo on Canva, right? And
Yeah.
Hulken, and
Yeah.
it's still the same logo. So
Yep.
talk
That's
to me
it.
about this. This is like, I think every founder, every entrepreneur needs to hear this because you are now an 8-figure and growing
Mhm.
brand, and
Yeah.
your logo is designed on Canva. By who? Who designed that?
My husband, a drummer. So I can't stress this enough. Do not hire a branding agency before you have product market fit. For me, it's a mistake that I see a lot of founders do very early on, that they'll invest all this money. And part of it is insecurity. You don't know what you have, if what you have is good enough. But in this day and age, when you have Canva, Squarespace, Shopify, Instagram, TikTok, you have all the tools at your fingertips to make your business successful yourself. You do not need an agency. You do not need developers. You do not need branding. So Canva is the best tool ever. Like that's the one tool. If you had to invest this in ChatGPT, invest in the
Mhm,
$20 a month to get the pro version, do it. I use it every single day. And
mhm,
so my husband, who's a musician and never designed anything, just went to Canva, looked for something simple, strong. And to this day, we still use the same logo. Again, it's one that people will recognize just
mhm,
by walking by someone using a Hulken on the streets. And I think we've never lived in a better era to build a business without funding. I've had 2 startups that were VC backed. Hulken is not VC backed. And I'm enjoying that because it's making me scrappy. It's making
mm.
me think differently. It's making me creative in how I use my different resources. And yeah, we use Canva for graphics to this day. And I think it's an incredible tool and anyone should be using it. And we did invest in branding eventually 2 years ago. And I think it was a great decision. We also never invested in our website until 2 years ago. We were just working off of a Shopify site that we built. So yeah, don't overinvest in things that don't move the needle.
Mhm,
Focus on making sure your product is solving a problem that people actually care about, that there's instant gratification when using that product. And then the growth will happen. And then you can worry about branding. Once you have some money coming in, then you can start worrying about the best website ever. But there are things that really don't matter early on. What matters is that you're addressing a problem that people care
that's a word. That
about.
that is just all any business owner needs to hear on repeat, and everyone has it so
Yeah.
backwards because that, the branding, the website, it's fun and sexy and makes everyone
It's so
feel
sexy.
special.
I've
Yeah.
made that mistake. I've had 2 other companies. The first one, we were very scrappy. The second one, I thought I was like, okay, I raised a bunch of money. Let's spend it on branding. Spent way too much money on branding before we even knew if people wanted to buy our products. And it's not necessary. It
Mhm.
really just doesn't make a massive difference earlier on in the business.
Yeah, so good. That's so good. So partnerships, you've had some fantastic ones. QVC, you did Container Store, you had
Hmm.
Supreme. How do you
Hmm.
decide what partnerships you take? Are these partnerships you're approaching them? They're approaching you? Talk to
Yeah.
me about that.
So I'm knocking on my head because all of these names that you've mentioned are people reaching out to us.
Wow.
Um, I think it says a lot again about the product, the fact that we're category creators and that people are noticing us. We are starting now some more proactive approach with some key people. So we did something with the New York City Ballet as well. We approached
Mm,
them in that case, but Supreme reached out to us when I wasn't even full-time at Hulken. Literally, they reached out to us. They wanted to do a Supreme branded Hulken, which was such a milestone for the brand. And they gave us a design that we had no idea how to execute on, but we did it. So they placed an order because how Supreme works is actually they buy wholesale. And it was a huge booster for the brand from like a legitimacy standpoint because a lot of guys especially started taking us seriously the minute that Supreme did the partnership. So it was wonderful. They're great partners. QVC, we were lucky because one of our very first buyers was Anthropology. And they were buying Hulken wholesale. I think they were the very first ones. But then
Wow.
the buyer from Anthropology moved to QVC. And it's been a hit since. QVC is an incredible platform. We've been really impressed with just the volumes that we're seeing through that channel in a way that I didn't think people still shop through these types of shopping channels,
Mhm.
and they still do. And there's very few places where I can go on for 24 hours and sell close to 30, 40,000 Hulkins.
Wow.
Uh, so great partners. Container Store, same thing. They reached out to us. We have a lot of our users are professional organizers, so they will shop at the Container Store. So there's clearly an overlap in user base. And I think they were just spreading the love for us, which is again amazing. Just
Mm.
focusing on your users, making sure they're happy, and they will become your best ambassadors.
And most of your sales volume DTC, like direct to consumer, or what's the breakdown?
Yeah, so we're about 95% direct to consumer at this point.
Mhm.
That might shift in 2026. I think we always want to prioritize direct to consumer, but we have a big retail launch in November, so
Oh,
stay tuned for that.
can't wait.
But yeah, that's super exciting, and it's a new world for us. Where I'm a software gal, so
Mhm.
I'm used to digital marketing. I'm not a hard product person, but we're learning, and we're super excited about the growth opportunity that these offline retailers present.
That's exciting, exciting. And colors. The colors are so
Yes.
fun and exciting. What's your best-selling color? Do you know off the top of your head?
Black,
Is
very
it black?
boring. Is it black? It is black. What's interesting is black is best performing across the board, D2C, wholesale. So you go to the Container Store, black is going to be actually one of Hulken as a product is one of the top 5 selling products at Container
Wow.
Store. But what's interesting is the sizing. So
Mm.
online, people will always go for the large, but in person, they will go for the medium, which is
Hmm.
my personal favorite. But yeah, large is our number one. A large, rose gold, and midnight blue and
Mm.
silver, which are our 4 core colors. And then you have all the fun ones
Yeah.
sprinkled on top.
Yeah, I saw purple
Which ones do you have?
I have black and rose gold, but
Oh, there you go.
so,
Two
I mean,
best
I'm
sellers.
pretty basic, I guess, but I saw
No,
purple. I wanna
I
get
get it.
purple, because
Cute.
purple's my favorite color, so, yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
a really
so
nice
fun. I feel
purple.
like it's also kind of a personal style statement, which one you're carrying
It
around,
is.
and it's interesting you talked about with Supreme the Men, when I remember getting my first Hulken, my husband was like, "What?" What is this? I'm like, just trust me. Just trust me. You're
Husbands
gonna,
are always skeptical.
yeah,
Like I
yeah,
hear that
yeah,
across the board. Men are always skeptical.
yeah, yeah. And
And
I'm
then
like,
what happened?
yeah, 'cause he's like, I'm like, trust me, you're gonna love this bag. And so he used it. It was a college move in. He had it. He was like, damn, this bag is
No,
amazing.
I
I'm
get
like,
it.
I told
Right?
you, I
Oh,
told
I
you.
love that.
Yeah.
I
So
love that.
they are comforts. Okay. So I want to end our interview with some She Sells rapid fire. So you've already sprinkled a bunch of these throughout the interview, but one of the things that I've loved you've done the most on Instagram, which will at the end I'll let you share with everyone where to find you on all of the channels, but you have a fantastic social media presence. You did, I think it was 26 lessons that you learned, or 25, 26. Yeah.
It was supposed to be 30 as
Okay.
you're speaking. I'm like, I need to do 4 more.
Okay.
So yeah, it was supposed to be 30 over 30 days. And then summer
Life.
happened and
Yeah.
exactly life. I got overwhelmed.
Well,
But yeah, it's
I
about
was
26,
hanging on every
27.
single one. That's how I know, because I'm like, they were so good, and they are back to these like core sales
Hmm.
messaging elements that every brand needs. So I want to do some rapid fire, and I'll read them
Yeah.
off and just give you a minute or two to kind of speak from the Hulken perspective on these sales messages.
Mhm.
So, you ready?
Yeah. Let's
Okay.
do it.
So one that you said is most products don't fail because they're ugly. They fail because no one needs them. What do you mean by that?
I think I touched on this earlier on. People over obsess on the aesthetics of things. That's why I said branding is not necessary from day one. Focus on problem solving, focus on that utility. What pain point are you solving for that you're giving relief for? So for us, it was very clear. We need to provide the best relief possible when people are carrying a million things, they're breaking their backs and shoulders in the process. And so we created the bag. It wasn't good enough from day one. Did we launch a perfect product? No. Was it ugly? Yes. And it just, first of all, allowed us to learn from the market and learn from people using it. So don't wait too long to launch your perfect, aesthetically pleasing product. Launch it, get feedback, and go back to the drawing board, make it better, launch it again, get feedback, and go through that loop. Because if it will allow you to understand truly if, first of all, you have product market fit. Do people want your product? Do they want it after your next iteration? Probably. If you keep on iterating on it and you keep that mindset that is not set in stone in a certain direction, your likelihood of success is so much greater. So don't be hung up on aesthetics. Get your product out there. Get your website out there. You're gonna be embarrassed by it. If you're not embarrassed by it, it means you probably launched it too late. So speed is the essence.
Mm,
Get it out, and you'll get great results from that.
yes, embarrassment is the cost of entry, I always say. Absolutely. What about
Yeah.
this one? Don't ask your customers to share, give them a reason to.
Yeah, exactly. I think that goes back to having the perfect product, or at least touching on some emotional core that makes them so excited that they want to share it. So we initially never reached out to influencers. We still don't. We get inbound requests constantly to an extent that we can't obviously give bags to everyone. But the product became such a fan favorite. We grew such a fan base across different niches, especially professional niches, that just loved the experience so much that they're sharing it. They're the ones that talk about it organically because they love it so much. So give them a reason to talk about your product to their friends, to their colleagues. I always say that when we create pieces of content, we create content with shareability in mind. And I think that just speaks to what you're saying. We build it for shareability because we want you to see it and send it to your sister, send it to your friend and say, this made me think of you and you need to buy this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the difference with social media where we're at right now, at least in this point in the market. It's really not about likes and comments, although those are nice. What we want is the sharing behind the scenes because that's where we're
Yeah.
seeing conversion for sure. Speaking of people sharing, you've had some big names and big
Mm.
like press, I would say, without maybe looking for it.
Because we're big in the makeup artist scene.
Yeah,
So every movie set you'll be on, you'll see a fleet of Hulkens
that's
in the back. So all the makeup artists, all the fashion stylists are using the bags in front of celebrities and actors and whatnot. And so we're seeing a lot of mentions from these mega celebrities, which is so amazing and wonderful. And also gives you perspective, I think, for founders that these mega accounts don't necessarily translate into massive sales. And I think that's just an interesting perspective in terms of focus that micro influencers and like smaller accounts are actually much more impactful. That's what made our brand, made our growth earlier on is we had
mm.
all these professional niches of thrifters, interior designers, professional organizers, professional mermaids, which is also a community that
Wait,
I
what?
didn't know existed.
Wait.
They carry their tails and wigs, and there's a professional mermaid community out there that is very passionate about Hulken. So
Wow.
that those micro communities is really what made Hulken grow in the early days, big time. So I think yes, the celeb mentions are wonderful, but we don't underestimate the smaller accounts because these will really drive engagement.
Who knew professional mermaids? That is
Yeah, I know,
fascinating.
right?
I'm definitely
When
gonna
we saw it, we say that's one for the books. There's every day we find different use cases, new ways to use Hulken from
Mm.
different types of communities, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, but it's like,
It's so
yeah,
much fun.
everybody schleps. Like you know that
Everybody shops.
everybody schleps. Huh. That's so good. What about this
Yeah.
one? Scarcity is a strategy.
Yeah. So we weren't in stock for the first 3 years. Basically, everything we had was sold out very shortly after. So For the first 3 years of Hulken, every time we did have stock, it became something that people would jump on. And I think last holiday season was the first time in Hulken's history that we had stock for the holidays. It's very stressful to be out of stock,
Mhm.
especially when you do pre-orders and you have to make sure the stock follows and all that. It wasn't fun per se, but it was creating this sense of scarcity, which was creating a sense of excitement around the brand, and people were waiting for the drops and people were waiting for that, for the products to be back in stock. So it is a strategy. I think you can think about it from a place of making sure that you manage the demand in a way that meets what you have, but also making some things maybe a little bit more scarce to create that sense of hype.
Yeah. How did you have customers angry or upset that things weren't in stock?
No, but I think what was very stressful, and again, we're still a very small team. We're a team of six. Then we have the whole manufacturing, which is obviously bigger, but on the core Hulken business side, we're a team of six. And at the time, we were a team of two or three, right? And just having expectations on shipping and making sure that if someone pre-ordered on Black Friday that they would get it within a reasonable window, and we know the containers were stuck at the port and we wanted to make sure things were moving. It was stressful, and it was
Mhm.
definitely kept us up at night just answering customer success tickets and things. But it's ultimately, I think it did create some hype earlier on that was helpful to the business.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure. Two more. Social is where you go viral, but email is where you go deep.
Yeah. So social was always number one for us, and we actually never sent emails until I would say 18 months ago. Why? We didn't have enough stock. So like I think the stock issue, I knew if I was sending out an email, it would go crazy and would sell out too quickly for what we had in terms of inventory. Now that we have, the supply side of things kind of meeting the demand that we have, it's so much fun because we can go deep with email. And what I mean by that is that it's not just a one-off thing. It's nurturing a very engaged community that have signed up for updates at Hulken. And it's a huge revenue driver. It's
Mhm.
essentially only upside. And we work with a very capable, incredible email team that's outsourced. They create all of our engagement emails, all of our flows, all of our post-purchase email, pre-purchase emails. And it's only upside. You have this engaged community that's only waiting to hear from you. If you can early on, try to focus on building that email list as much as you can, because once you're ready, it's your easiest way to increase your top line without having to invest too much money.
Yeah, I think that is a missed opportunity for a lot of not just
Hmm.
product-based business owners, service-based business owners,
Yeah.
thought leaders, anyone who wants to monetize a brand. We focus so much on social because again, it's that fun, sexy where we think everyone is, but
Yeah.
email is that
Yeah.
direct line and it's
Yeah.
a much more intimate way of creating a relationship with people for
Yeah.
sure. And
Yeah.
then this is the last one, which I really love and I think is the most maybe scandalous and interesting. But I want to end on this. Getting copied helps you grow. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So we started getting copied, I would say, sometime last year. We knew this would happen. We are protected with patents, but people find ways around them, and we also take measures to take them down, whatever. It's not a fun process, but I think it made us resilient, it made us more creative, and it made us more determined that community is what sets us apart. Brand is what sets us apart. We're not just another Amazon utility brand. We're building a legacy brand here. We're building a brand that people will remember in the next decades. We also will expand beyond the rolling tote. So I do think it's keeping us on our feet. Do I love it? No. Do I wish there was no competition? Yes. But people know we have something special here. We are protected with patents. So, it's at their own risk, but I think it's keeping us on our feet and making us think creatively, similarly to how not having VC funding is also making us be creative. I think it's the same here, and we have to live with it. It's the reality of the market. Brands have come out with dupes, and now they're talking to us. So I think the
Mm.
brand value is undeniable. They want Hulken in their stores, and it's just a matter of time if they haven't realized it yet.
Do you remember when the first copycat product came out, seeing it,
Uh,
how that was for you?
yeah, I was just angry. I was
Yeah.
just so angry. And
Mhm.
if you go on Alibaba, which is this
Yeah.
tiny sourcing site for manufacturers. If you go on Alibaba, you see pictures of me and my kids with the
Ugh.
Hulken.
Ugh.
And so they don't only steal your IP on the product, they steal your entire creative direction, all of
Ugh.
your photos, to the extent that people think we're producing in China because our photos are all over these platforms. So it feels a little bit invasive. It feels
Mhm.
very unfair and very just, yeah, not like they're stealing everything that we built with,
Mhm.
sweat and tears. And I'm obviously not the only founder dealing with that. I've got endless examples, one of which is Rianne De Silva from Beauty Blender, who's a good friend who we've also partnered with. And they've been copied left and right, and
Mhm.
to this day. But I think that's when you need to be super creative and just make your brand as strong as ever.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's not a good feeling.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. It's gotta piss you off.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's everything from the detail of how they structure the fabric. You can tell they ordered Hawkins, looked at every way that we built this, and just straight up copy. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. How frustrating. But you are creating something incredible, and your brilliance
thank you,
and
thank you.
yes, your attention to detail and your obsession over the product and your obsession over your customers is so apparent. Like
Thank you.
no one can copy that. That is just so it was so clear before I had this honor of being able to spend this time with you, but after this conversation and after I know everyone listening, that is just so evident and what an incredible founder you are. So I'm just really honored
No,
that
thank
you
you, thank
came.
you.
No, I really
Well,
mean
it's
it.
you guys, the Hulken community. I'm pinching myself every day because it's
Mhm.
just so fun to have something that people love so much.
Mhm.
And that's what got us all so excited. I mean, my team is, my ex co-founder is now part of Hulken too. She wanted in on this because of the magic of being behind on this team and building this brand.
Yeah.
So I think it just shows that there's something special here.
Yeah, it is a cult-like following in the very best cult-like way. A cult-like following without all the
Yeah,
weird cult stuff
I
attached to
hope
it,
so.
without all the other bad things.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
as we wrap, you gave so many great gems for anyone who is a young founder or an aspiring founder. But if you could whittle it down to one piece of advice for a founder who's sitting on an idea, but is
Mhm.
just waiting for like the right time to launch, what would you tell
Mm.
that person right now?
To launch tomorrow, to move fast, that speed is probably the most important thing in making your business successful. If
Mm,
you're waiting too long, you've lost it. Launch it, get it in front of people, get feedback, and get started. If you don't get started and you stall too much, that's when you lose the mojo. That's when you lose the energy and you just need to get going. So you think you need a month to launch a website? You can do it in 2 hours tomorrow. And I would
mm,
challenge yourself to give yourself a goal of 1 week to get an Instagram page up, a website up, and not get hung up and just decide no matter how it looks, I'm launching it next week and just get started.
yeah, it's amazing what you can do in a short amount of time when you decide you're going to do it, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Give yourself those deadlines. Otherwise, you're not going to move.
Yeah, yeah. Great advice. Great advice. So, Alex, tell everyone where they can connect with you and follow you, please.
Yeah, so connect with me on Instagram at Alex Schinasi or on LinkedIn. I love connecting with people. I'm always super open to chat or give advice. So yeah, reach out.
Yeah, and we will definitely link Hulken we'll link Alex's info and, of course, the website for Hulken in the show notes. If you don't have a Hulken, what are you waiting for? Definitely get one. It will change your life. And I know that sounds dramatic, but it actually will. I waited way too long and then I got one and then I got another one and there'll be
Even your
another one.
husband agrees.
And my husband does agree, and he was a hard sell because he was like, "It's just a bag." I'm like, "It is not just a bag, Brian. Wait until you
How
get
dare
it.
you?
You'll see." Because everybody schleps, and schlepping can be sexy. So thank you
Yeah.
again so much, Alex. This was
Thank you,
amazing.
Krista. Thanks for
Yes.
having me.
Oh my gosh, yes. And we'll be back next week.